Hello everybody, welcome once again to another edition of Weekly Insight. My name's Michael Hennessy and I'm the pastor of Cornerstone Church here in Epping, Sydney. And if you're ever in our area, I say this every time we do these things, you're more than welcome to come and join us. One of our services, check out our website, it's written there on the screen for you to write down if you can. We've been doing a series over the last couple of weeks entitled Called to Reach Up. And we've been looking at the example of King Hezekiah, who had a calling to reach out and administering and ruling his kingdom, the kingdom of Judah, in a godly way, so that other nations could see that sort of thing was possible. But he came up against a crisis, and a king called Sennacherib was sieging the city of Jerusalem. He destroyed other cities surrounding Judah. Jerusalem was next, and Hezekiah was looking down the brink of certain destruction, so he chose to reach up and make contact with God. And if you look at 2 Kings chapter 19, it says the following. It says, and it happened when King Hezekiah heard, he tore his clothes and covered himself with sackcloth, and he went into the house of Jehovah. You know, the last part of that verse says, he went to the house of Jehovah. Sure, he took the crisis seriously. Sure, he made a sacrifice when he put sackcloth on to humble himself before God. But another thing that I think is very, very important for us to all to take note of when we're looking at how to reach up effectively to God when we're going through a crisis, that he sought the house, he went to the house of God, and he sought the fellowship not just of God, but he sought the fellowship and the counsel of other believers. Often people, they'll go to church for different reasons. Some might go for the fellowship, some might go for the worship, some might go for the teaching, some might go for the meat pies after church, as we have in our church. Some might go for the contact, for the social contacts, or even business contacts that they've made through attending church. But one thing we should always remember, one of the reasons why we go to church is because when we're going through a crisis, there are people there who can help us. And Hezekiah, he sent some emissaries. He sent some of his leaders to make contact with a prophet called Isaiah. And look what it says in verse 4 of this particular chapter. 2 Kings 19 verse 4 says, he said, please pray for those of us who are left alive. The king of Assyria sent his army commander to insult the living God. Perhaps the Lord heard what he said and will do something if you pray. And if you look at what Isaiah actually how he answered when Hezekiah sent people to Isaiah with a request, look, please pray, please get a word from God for me. I've come to seek the fellowship of you. I've come to seek other Christians to help me in this situation, in this crisis. Can you please seek God? And this is how Isaiah answered that cry that Hezekiah had. And Isaiah replies in verse 5, he says the following, he says, when these leaders went to Isaiah, verse 6, he told them that the Lord had this message for Hezekiah. I am the Lord. Don't worry about the insulting things that have been said about me by these messengers from the king of Assyria. I will upset him with rumors about what's happening in his own country. He will go back, and there I will make him die a violent death. That was the word of the Lord that Isaiah had for Hezekiah to give him comfort. And that word was spot on, because within 24 hours, I can't believe this, within 24 hours, this is what the Lord did in order that Hezekiah would have victory over the crisis that he was in. It says in verse 35 of 2 Kings chapter 19, it says, that same night, the Lord sent an angel to the camp of the Assyrians, and he killed 185,000 of them. So the next morning, the camp was full of dead bodies. That was a victory and a half, wasn't it? It really was. And Hezekiah, he went through that crisis, but he came out a victor on the other side. And I really believe one of the things that gave him strength to keep on reaching out was the fact that he chose to seek the fellowship of other men and women of God. You know, we should never, ever, ever, no matter what we're going through in our Christian experience, we should never, ever neglect the fellowship we have with other Christians. I know it's hard sometimes. I know when you're going through a crisis of faith or whatever else, you know, one of the things that we tend to put down to one side is our desire to be in fellowship and to go to church. But Hezekiah never did that. When he was going through a crisis, he successfully reached up to God by reaching out to other people and asking them for help. And he came through the crisis. And just to conclude the series, I just want to give you a promise as well. If you choose to still be in fellowship with other Christians when you're going through a crisis, you will also have victory over what you are facing. You know, and you reach up, God will help you, and you'll continue to be able to reach out to other people around you as you are called to do. God's a good God. And isn't it great to see there are some really good principles that that he illustrates and he enables us to learn from in his word. God bless you. Keep reaching out. Keep reaching out. And when the time comes, reach up. Reach up to God and he'll look after you. God bless you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.